the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Offensive play, like just one of the best rookie receivers a year ago. You're already really limited in the passing game. It's not like you have just a cornucopia of skill position guys out wide for Desmond Ridder to throw the ball around to. Cordell wasn't available, obviously. You look at this and you're like, okay, that's a fair question to ask. And Kyle Pitts had one big game that was taken away in this one, so that was I think he would have had a little bit better of a stronger of a stat line if that one catch didn't get called back on penalty. But like when I heard that and saw the response, I think two things are true. I think it was a fair question. I think Arthur is also correct, and he doesn't have to placate fans and everybody else who just see, top 10 pick or superstar kind of guy. Like, we have to get him targets. It is ultimately about winning games, and his job is self-preservation and getting the Falcons wins the best way he knows how. It also is like, it's not really Arthur Smith's call where guys are drafted. He does the best with what the pieces are. I understand he has input, and it's not like he's not putting his input into what Terry Fontenot does, but like, I think it's ultimately a stronger question for Terry Fontenot is like, why are you drafting these guys in the top 10, top 20, whatever in the first round if your head coach doesn't necessarily play a style or is going to coach in a way that's going to maximize that value in that space? And I think that's a fair question for Terry, and I'd be more interested to hear from Terry's perspective on why he's drafting those kind of guys early if Arthur is still going to win games in a different way. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of competing factors here that I've been considering. I don't think it's a negative, and I think fans who are really upset about that, it's like, you got a dub week one. Like, this is all news. So it's something to monitor over the course of the year. Desmond Ridder 3-2 as a starter. He's not throwing picks. It's not like the offense is broken. The pass protection was not good in this game by and large, so maybe that's part of it too. I think it's just by and large, if you win the game, you played a style that won. He's played 500 football through 3 years to this point. It's a big year for Arthur Smith, but let's see as the season goes on. Kyle Pitts got some deep shot. The deep shot late was huge. Let's just see what ultimately happens. But I do think at the very least, it's okay to monitor if you're going to use that kind of draft capital early to make the best of those kind of those pieces and those targets. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with it too. I will add this to what you're saying because you do have a fair point. You raise a fair argument. I mean, it is a realistic thing. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, your last 3 first-round picks, you've had 3. One scored a touchdown on Sunday. Had a very good performance by and large. One of the best rookie performances of week 1. You can make that argument. Then you go back the year before, and that guy led your team in receiving. Mm-hmm. Then you go back the year before that, he led your team in receiving, and he set a Falcons rookie receiving record. And he is one of 2 tight ends ever to go for 1,000 yards in a rookie season. So I don't really understand the complaint. I hear the complaint every single day. I see it on social media every single day. But I don't know what people truly expect from these guys. I mean, yes, I understand what happened on Sunday. I understand that Kyle Pitts only had 2 catches. I understand that Drake London didn't have any. It had 1 target and 0 catches. I understand those things, but you also only had 44 plays. You only have 44 plays, and there's only so much. And when the ball's working on the ground and they can't stop the rushing attack, when you're using Tyler Algier and you're just bowling over them in the second half and you're wearing them down, why would you go away from that? Because we saw them go away from that, and that's when the Panthers were able to pin their ears back and get back into the backfield and sack Desmond Ridder, or at least disrupt the play. So, look, it was just the flow of the game, and I'm not sitting here trying to like defend Arthur Smith or Terry Fontenot or anything like that, but these guys have delivered not all the way on their draft capital. I mean, like, look, they're not Jamar Chase or any of the other dudes who've just been dudes, but look, they've had very strong careers to this point, and I'm sitting here waiting for people to kind of chill out a little bit with Drake London. He had a bad first week, and I don't necessarily blame him. I don't blame Desmond Ridder. It's just the way the game unfolded. And I think if the Falcons had as many snaps as the Carolina Panthers, they had 72 in this game. We had 44 or 48 rather. If the Falcons had that many snaps, I guarantee you I guarantee you that Drake London and Kyle Pitts would have had more looks. 100%. But look, when you only have 48 snaps, that's a pretty low number, and maybe there are efficiency problems. They were holding the ball pretty effectively, and look, they were running the ball. And so why would you want to go away from what's working? Like if you're picking up chunks of yardage on the ground, you got to stick with it. And I was talking about that to the people around me in the stands. Just run the ball, because in the first half, the passing attack wasn't working. I mean, Desmond Ridder had 0 yards total if you account for the sack yardage. He had 0 yards passing, and it's bad. That's a different conversation. But the rushing attack was working. It's just the flow of the offense.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't really opened it up yet. We also we'll see what happens when they play from behind. I think Smith was just a really confident way of calling this game, where I think it kind of reminded me of, and this is no disrespect to Carolina, but it kind of played out like the SEC games we saw over the weekend, where the offenses were kind of rusty. We saw like there was some real rust in the first half for Atlanta, because obviously Arthur did not play a lot of these guys together really at all this preseason. Yeah. So you're shaking some rust off. So I'm going to reserve judgment for a couple more weeks to see what this offense looks like.
We just got to wait. That's all.
Yeah.
Like
just pile up wins while you're figuring it out.
Yeah, just win. And that was my major point. My biggest point from this weekend when we did Falcons Flyover and reacted to this game. It is so much better to have to go back to the drawing board and work on some stuff and figure out the kinks that need fixing after a win. And look, this team hasn't been 1-0 since 2017 or 2018. That's a long time. And look, they got to win, and I'm happy about the win. That's really the biggest thing. And the rest of the stuff, the little kinks, that they can work on that this week.
Hey, we'll see. It feels good because we know the history of teams that win week 1 and their playoff record or getting to the playoffs versus teams that do not.
Teams that start 0-1, their odds go from, I think they drop by like 40%.
And it's 0-2. It's basically, if you're 0-2, you basically never make the playoffs. 0-2 is almost insurmountable.
0-2, it drops. It's like, I think of the first one, it drops. I think it drops like 30%, and then the second one it drops like 80%.
Yeah,
75, 80%. It's not insurmountable, obviously, and it's like a smaller sample size, of course, with the expanded playoffs and everything else, plus a wide open NFC. Things change in a hurry, but wins are hard in the NFL. It is hard to win football games in the NFL. It's hard to win, period. But winning in the NFL, I mean, these guys are really good at what they do, and at the end of the day, it's like you have a rookie quarterback, you have some injury concerns on the other side, but these guys are still getting paid top dollar to play at the top level of their sport. And the Panthers are going to be a good team this year. Like I know the NFC South has received a lot of hate just over the course of the offseason, but this isn't like these teams are decrepit. I mean, like, look,